Hello, I am doing it. I'm filming this video on why we are moving to Fort Worth, Texas. So I keep thinking about how I want to make this video and try not to make it too long. But I guess first I'll just start out with, if you don't know who I am, my name is Isla Garcia and I currently live in Raleigh, North Carolina. I am a registered dietitian who has a private practice called The Millennial Nutritionist, which we should be uploading this on the Millennial Nutritionist page, so you can kind of check out the rest of the videos to figure out what that is all about. But I wanted to share why we are moving on here, because every time I talk about it on Instagram, I get kind of the same iteration of questions, and I just kind of want to knock it all out so I can send it to people when they ask. Where should I start? So I guess if you don't know me, I have been living in Raleigh, North Carolina for a very long time. I'm originally from Charleston, basically grew up in a small town in North Carolina. We moved there when I was 10, and then I came to college in Raleigh, North Carolina, and I've pretty much been here ever since for the past like 10-ish years. I met my husband, David, when at the end of undergrad for me. And so he went to school at NC State. I was at Meredith. He was in grad school at the time, and he still had a couple more school years left. And so we met, and we had been together like 5 or 6 years before we got married. We always wanted to move to a bigger city. We both of us just like really wanted to. When I met him, I was like, I'm moving to California. He's like, well, I'm moving to New York City, and neither of us ever went anywhere. We really did try. We tried to leave and go to somewhere else. We just like what big cities offer as far as like events. We both really like doing like different events and like social things and just like being around like the pulse of things, you know what I mean? And so Raleigh is great, and I feel like Raleigh's gonna get so much better, but at the time we were both in school, it just felt like so kind of like small towny. He's from Wilmington, North Carolina, so again, like it just didn't feel like, we're both from North Carolina, so it just didn't really feel like we were going on this like grand adventure. And both of us are, is it type 3 Enneagrams, where we like are achievers, so we both have to of course have like the best of the best, and Raleigh just didn't seem like the best of the best. But we both found really good jobs when we finished school finally, so we really didn't have a reason to leave. We kept looking into just seeing if we could leave, but we both, like I said, just got really good job opportunities, and it just would have been a huge pay cut, honestly, to leave and go to bigger cities when we both just, great jobs really fell into our laps. And so what's next in the story? We still like kind of every year evaluated going to other places, but it was super dependent on David's job, because he works in an industry that is private equity, which I don't think I'm really going to get into explaining, but basically it's kind of like investment-y type of stuff. And the industry is not really in Raleigh, North Carolina. It's more in places that have like a financial district, right? So like New York and LA and stuff like that, which is where we thought we would be for his job, because it's kind of like trying to make it as a singer in like a small town, which you can do, but it is just like harder to have all the opportunities that you can have compared to these like bigger cities that have just like giant firms for him to really advance. But we kind of decided that we probably weren't ever going to leave after having been here for so long after graduating. Like I think we were here for like, well, I guess like 4 years, because Dave is a couple years older than me. So he was at his job for like 4 years, so that's how long we had stayed. And by that point we're like, well, we're probably just here now, because it gets harder and harder to move, right, when you get older. So we bought a house, and we really thought that that would mean that we were, at least I thought we were going to be here forever, you know, thinking about like finally starting a family and just really coming to terms with like Raleigh's a great place, especially with all the stuff that's finally happening here with all the development that's like coming. And yeah, it just seemed like really exciting to finally be in Raleigh. We bought a great house downtown. I feel like my quality of life went up so much, just never really thought we would leave. So of course, when you decide that you're finally content, that's when I feel like life like flips you upside down. And over the past like year and a half, we just have had so many changes, right? Because like, well, COVID, and then we got married, and then I got a job, and then then we actually got married. Then I started this company. Then I quit my job to pursue Millennial Nutritionist full time. And then we kind of thought that was it. And then, of course, we're leaving and going to a place we've never been. So, what else can I say? When Dave has been kind of in the works of trying to get this job, just like always kind of putting feelers out. And this job was like one of his dream jobs. It's a really great firm in his industry. And it was something that really made sense for his next career move, because it's just a much bigger company than where he's at. And that's what he's really always wanted to do. And so knowing that he kind of, was flexible with me and wanting to pursue my career path with wanting to be an entrepreneur and start my own company, I really understood it's like his time now to kind of to have the leeway to, I don't know, let him do what he wants to do, even if that causes us to move. But we weren't really like thinking it was too serious, because the interview process was honestly taking a very long time. I think it took like 2 months to really get through and finally get an offer. And so we really, I guess, didn't know how it was going to be or anything until the offer finally came through. And it was a really, really great offer. And again, just like a really great firm, because it was so much bigger. And that's what David really wanted for his career goal. He always said he really just wanted to work at a big firm, and they just don't really have any in Raleigh. We really thought about it, and it was a really, really hard decision for me, especially because the job is in Fort Worth, Texas, and I had no idea where Fort Worth was. Like, honestly, I thought it was like in Minnesota or something. Like, really, I mean, I know where Dallas is, but I didn't know Fort Worth, Dallas was like a thing. So when we finally had to it was like, final rounds of the interview process, and we were really having to think about it. I got a question on Instagram, and I asked like, why, how did we know this was the right decision, even though it was like a really big decision and a really big move? And it was really because, I guess, like, as a unit, how we both agreed is like, I always like wanted David to be super financially just secure for the both of us, because I mean, honestly, he's kind of the breadwinner of our family, so we're putting a lot of eggs in the basket that he carries to work every day, and working at a bigger firm just makes it seem like a little bit more financially secure, especially if something were to happen, God forbid, to his company. Having a big name on his resume can just really help the job security aspect of it, that he could maybe relocate with this like great new resume booster, that he would have that much more security, which just makes us more secure as a family unit. And so that's why I felt like I was wanting it, because even knowing that Raleigh just really isn't the place for his industry, which just always made me nervous. Like, what's the next step if like that doesn't work out, right? So I was very pro him finding a larger job, or at least a job that could boost his resume to just make us more financially secure in like job security, if that makes sense. It's really not about like more money. It's about like him just having a lot more security in his job if something were to happen. I wasn't super happy, and we actually did kind of have to talk about it, because I didn't know if I really wanted to move to Fort Worth. We have absolutely no family there. I didn't even know where it was. I honestly have only driven through Texas. I've never actually even visited or anything. Texas is nowhere I ever thought I wanted to be. Yes, the good things is like, I didn't think it would really affect my company or anything, because the cost of living is really similar and everything like that. And so we decided that we're just going to do it, because it's really good, again, for us as a unit, for him to advance in his career in that way. It's a higher position for him, and it's not just about like him. Like, this whole year and a half, it's been about me. So it is time for it to be about him. And I still get to do my thing. That's the great thing, is like, I don't have to like look for a new job. So that is not stressful at all, to know that like I will still be able to do the same exact thing that I'm doing now. A lot of people were asking like, why didn't we move to Austin? It's because we didn't pick the place. We just picked the job. So we didn't know where it was. We would have moved wherever it was, to be honest. And so that's why. It's just because we weren't just moving to move to a new place. I don't think there's any other really questions I got that were that different. Honestly, those were the two big ones, or the two most common ones. But I guess I'll just kind of end with saying that we are really excited. I am really excited. I'm pretty good at like just kind of turning it around and being, like finding ways to be really excited about it. I am really, really, really sad. And the other day I like was on a run, and I almost like started crying, because I just kind of came, like all the sadness came over me of just like leaving my friends, leaving our family, everything we've kind of ever known, to this place that's really unknown to us. But we went and we visited, and I'm really excited about it now. It really seems just like a bigger version of Raleigh, but it's so close to Dallas, so I'm so excited to like have at least like a bigger city there, because that's kind of what we always wanted, to like have the bigger city amenities. It's so close, we don't have to like fly anywhere. I'm super excited to like be, and honestly, in a place with a huge airport. Like I didn't realize like how much that would really bother me, but we travel so much. Every time we fly into Raleigh, I feel like we always have to do a connecting flight. And as I get older, it's just like not cool to like spend my whole day like connecting flights and having the stress of like, is one plane gonna be late or whatever. So I'm really excited to be at that big airport. We're not really into sports, but it will be exciting to like be around that like buzz of being in a place that has that. Like I said, we always wanted to be around a place that was just like had like a pulse to it, and I feel like Dallas definitely does. And the cost of living is pretty low to be that close to like that many things. As far as our house, so we bought it like a year ago. We definitely didn't think we would sell it, or like we would be out of it, or I don't know if we would have really bought. So we are planning on Airbnb-ing it. So we're working on it right now. Honestly, this looks nice like this, but like, oh, you can't even really see. There's like so many boxes like everywhere down there because we're like getting rid of stuff. We're Airbnb-ing our house, and we're gonna move into an apartment which I'm actually like super, super excited about. That's the thing that I was like, well, if we're moving, then like I at least want to like live in an apartment, because honestly, living in a house has been like a lot of work with the yard all the time, and like all the cleaning and like reorganizing and house like projects, just because we're so social, because all of our friends are here. So it's like every weekend we had to decide like, are we going to be social or are we going to like work on house stuff? So I'm excited in that aspect to go back to living in an apartment and almost having like a do-over for our next house, because there's so many things that I wouldn't do the same if I could do it over again. But living in downtown Raleigh, especially with all the buzz here, we didn't want to let this house go, because we figured that we could probably make more Airbnb-ing it than selling it. And then just like moving our stuff ended up being like really expensive. So we are just going to get to Fort Worth to our apartment and literally have nothing, which makes me kind of nervous, but I love fresh starts. And so we're moving New Year's Eve. So like the freshest start ever. We like literally get there on New Year's Day. So that'll be really exciting, just to like start everything from scratch. I literally feel like we're starting a whole new life there, with like a whole new job and like a whole new living place, like a whole new location. I am really excited now. The flights are not that expensive. So if any of my friends are watching this, please come out and visit me. You know, if any family's watching this, please come out and visit. I'm excited to live in a place too where we can actually like take people to stuff, right? Because like visiting in Raleigh, it's like never a lot to do. I'm like, well, let me just take you to my favorite restaurant, and then I don't know what we're gonna do the rest of the day. Where there's gonna be so many different things that we can do. In Fort Worth, we debated living in Dallas. So I guess that's another question I got. We debated living in Dallas or even like the suburbs areas of like Dallas, Fort Worth, but we really like being around things. We don't really like the suburbs all that much. So that's why we picked Dallas, and David's work is that's why we picked Fort Worth, and David's like location is in Fort Worth. So he doesn't really want to commute, and I don't blame him. So we are picking a place that's super close to his work. And yeah, I mean, we like going to festivals. We like going to music stuff. So we don't want to have to drive a long way to do that. We only have one car, so that'll be easier. And yeah, we really liked Fort Worth. Like it honestly feels, like I said, like a big Raleigh. It has like a small town feel, or like a midtown feel, but I feel like it has like all the amenities of a larger town. And the culture is really cool. The cowboy culture, I'm super excited to like get into like authentic cowboy culture, not like redneck cowboy culture like I feel like I grew up with. And I think that's it. I mean, I could go on and on, but I don't want this video to be like 30 minutes long. And I think that answers all the questions that I normally get. We only had one weekend to go down there and decide, so I hope we made a good choice. No, I think we did. I'm really excited. I'm really excited to like live in an apartment. I'm excited to start over. I'm honestly excited to be, I think my business will be a lot better. I could probably do so much with like the companies that live out there, and even like try to contract out like to them, and maybe do like workplace wellness stuff, or do more speaking engagements at places like that. I think that would be really, really great for my business. And I'll be on a central time zone, which I know will be so much better for my Pacific Coast clients, because I always felt bad because all of our coaches are on the East Coast. So that'll be really, really nice. But I really want to try to make like weekly or bi-weekly videos of just our life out there, because like I said, we literally won't know anyone. So we're pretty much starting all the way over in life, I feel like. So I definitely want to like keep up with family and friends, and these will probably just be really chill videos. It's okay if they only get like 5 views, because I know it'll be like my mom and David's mom and like 3 friends. So if you want to see your life in Fort Worth and you don't know who I am, you can definitely follow along. But if you don't, you can follow around, see our apartment, see where we, we do day to day, our new life out there. And yeah, I think that's it. So please let me know, comment below if you have any other questions. I could do like more videos. I try not to get like too in depth about like where we're living and stuff, because I'll probably show you the apartment and make that like a whole nother video about all of that. But I think that's it. I hope that answers all your questions. Bye.